Hi, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again by Bevan.
Hey,
Um, Bringing you some more Dallas, season 4, episodes 13 and 16. Tommy can roll the credits and we'll chat. So, this episode's making of the president,
yeah,
or making of a president. Starts off with like Jock, Bobby, and JR talking about Ewing 23 still. And then there's also some solar energy talk because I think Bobby's getting into that.
yeah.
And they talk about Cliff because they're against solar energy, I guess, because then I guess people won't need what oil and gas as much or whatever.
Well, yeah, like Bobby's looking at it as like an alternative energy source, and like JR's just like the world's been running out of oil since the first well was done, and it's like it's not the best attitude, but
And this
not
was
a
like
lie.
this, yeah, this was like the positive stuff that the New Dallas did because they kind of kept that going with Christopher being the solar energy guy and
Yeah,
um
or at least natural gases and shit like that, like stuff that
yeah,
was
yeah,
renewable.
yeah. Mitch and Lucy are on, and she's moving out of the house basically. They're moving in together.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, because it
and
just come back
Bobby,
from their honeymoon or whatever, wasn't it?
yeah, I think
Was it their
so. It's a
honeymoon?
shame they
It
didn't.
was, yeah.
I think so, and they didn't show any of that, which is kind of sad because I feel like they should have shown a little bit of a honeymoon for them, to be cute,
Yeah,
but they don't.
no, they leave it going.
Yeah. Bobby meets Leslie Stewart, played by the
Yes.
fabulous Susan Flannery from Bold and the Beautiful. I love her. It's funny when she first came. So I didn't, when I first started watching Dallas, I really had like zero idea what was happening in the business wise. So I didn't know what she was. And I'm like, why is she there? Who's this lady? But now that I get it, I like her more. And especially like she's well written too. Um,
She does kind
but
of play people very well, like a
hmm
fiddle. Yeah.
and you kind of don't know what she's doing, but she's the media consultant that wants to help, I guess. Um, what is it? Help business, I guess, because nobody wants to work with JR and stuff, so she wants to like help. But Bobby doesn't
Yeah,
think he needs her right now.
yeah. Well, I think they've was it in this episode they sort of go to an effort to sort of establish that JR is still on the outer, like despite the fact that he's sort of Bobby stepping down from running everything, JR's still very much on the outer in the larger financial community.
Yeah, nobody likes him or wants anything to do with him. He actually meets with another cartel guy. I got his last name, I guess, Elroy. I don't know if that was his first name or his last name.
I just remember that
Um,
actor from he's from Norris Place.
what was he in? Or
He was in Norris
like,
Place.
who was he?
What was it? What's his name? God, it's been a while. So the father of Joe's baby, that his parents.
Oh, wow. I couldn't even remember who they were right at this point. I think I remember the mom a little bit.
Yeah, the dad is that fellow, the curly haired fellow. I can't remember
Oh,
his
that's
name
so
at the
funny.
moment,
Oh, that's
but yes,
cool. I know
continue.
everybody looks familiar, because a lot of them are soapers, but yeah, I
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
never remembered him. Um, Pam and Bobby talk. He basically has no time for her. Alex comes in because, Alex is lurking around, like just waiting to pounce. And I don't blame him. If he wants Pam more than her husband does, so why not? Pam needs to get a piece.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just, how soapy relationships are. Is like, soon as, I mean, obviously, like, they've had their dramas in terms of sort of like work life balance and prior and everything like that. But I always
Hmm.
find it just funny with soapy dramas that there's like a few weeks of like distance or stress or something, and they're immediately like almost falling into bed with other people. I'm just like, man, everybody's incredibly fickle. But like, I mean,
Oh,
that's horribly cynical and like jokey, but still.
Well, that's the good thing about this storyline is a lot of the stuff tests Pam or tests Bobby, but they don't actually really do anything. So it's you know it's pretty fun, I think, because you think it's gonna happen, but it doesn't. Where a lot of times today they just do it. They're just like, all right, let's bang.
I had, it was actually something that occurred to me while I was watching it as well, because like it sort of happens a little bit in Dynasty as well between Crystal and Blake. Like they have kissed other people. Sorry, well, particularly Crystal like kisses other people, but nobody actually
Right,
sort of cheats. And like even though other characters do, I think it's just the way it's approached. Like now shows it is just assumed that these things will happen, and like and not even just assumed. There's no I think it's good to have characters that are sort of not like can't be compromised, So like
right,
you can have as much cheating as you want as long as the audience has like a Blake and Crystal to cling to, a Miss Ellie and a Jock. You know what I mean?
I guess
Something like
so.
that, because it provides like a sort of stable contrast to everything else. Well, not everything else necessarily, but a lot of the other things. And I just think that like I don't know the I think sometimes it is just played in because it's just like, oh, we can milk this for drama, and I'm like, well, you can
Hmm.
do that, but you can also do it in another way as well, where you can like, so that when they do actually come across like a relationship hurdle, which doesn't necessarily have to be infidelity, we can actually
Right.
see this tested. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, I just it's not even really a criticism. It's just kind of like a difference that there's always seems to be like a core couple or like family in
Right.
these sort of shows that sort of yeah
Which they are definitely tested. I mean, isn't like I forget where Pam ends up going. Um, Panama, the Panama Canal or something.
yeah something like that yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but they had the big old boats and everything outside
And
like
Alex
at
and
the
Alex
windows.
is there, and Bobby's still
Yeah,
blowing off her phone calls. So a lot of all that is very tempting. Where and she's having a good time with him. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think that happens soon. But
yeah, no.
but I like that stuff though when they're tested and they get through but I mean Pam and Bobby's relationship right now is just shot in my opinion. Like I personally would have cheated.
I think
But
it's like
but I guess
I
if
think
everybody
I
cheats
think
then it
it's
wouldn't be a good
worse.
storyline either.
I think it's sort of like I think it sort of is sort of like a trial for them, but I think like later it's actually worse, like because they still have trust in one another currently. Like she even says it I think in a later episode that she can't cheat on Bobby,
Yeah.
something like that, something like that. Obviously, we'll go over it, but still,
Um Clint calls Sue Ellen, and they set up like a meeting or a dinner or something later. And Clinton is what her friend from college that was involved with her back then, I guess. I
yeah,
guess they might
boyfriend
have
from
dated.
college.
Yeah, they don't really go too much into it, just that she dated and she basically picked JR over him.
Yeah,
Um, Connie is sick, and we get Deborah Trinelli joins the cast as Phyllis. Now, I didn't remember Connie going out like this. Like, is
I
that it
don't,
for Connie? Or
I
I wonder
don't
if she.
remember either. I honestly
Yeah, I
thought that
didn't
she left
remember.
over her feelings for thing. Maybe she
Me
makes an
too.
appearance later. Mm.
She might. She might, but she's
Like
not
to
in these
say
four
goodbye.
episodes. Huh?
Like maybe she appears later to say goodbye or something. Because I swear she doesn't just get
I
sick, But I could be
Same,
wrong.
yeah. Yeah, I thought that too. But yeah, she's apparently sick and Phyllis is there, but we don't even get to see like a full frontal of Phyllis yet. She's just like from the side. Because I remember around it, I'm like, is it Deborah Trinelli? Like I had to like rewind and look because hopefully she'll guest star on our podcast eventually.
Yeah,
Hopefully. Still got to get that email out there to her. I'm waiting until we have like a good amount of episodes, done with Phyllis so we can actually talk to her.
yeah.
But I mean, she was like I said, she's only in it for a split second. They're like, "Oh, this is Phyllis, your new secretary," and like gone.
Yeah.
Um. So anyway, Afton visits JR at work. She wants help with her singing career. Here we go. The old singing career in soaps is like everything in like 1981 to 1986. I
Oh,
feel like there's
please. There's
always
Glee. They were doing it right up until the 2000s. Glee exists. There's like a stupid sing. Well, there's a musical episode every season of Riverdale. Even the reboot of Dynasty at times couldn't decide what it wanted to be because they had to have Elizabeth Gillies singing. Like, not that it's
right.
bad, but like I always thought, oh, we're including this a lot more than I thought we would.
They were they were funny how they did that with the gas leak or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny. Um, Miss Ellie and Donna talk to Kappa. Take your
Mm,
shot. Anytime you hear Takapa. Bobby apologizes to Pam. She ain't having it. Pam confronts Bobby and she feels neglected. Of course, she's been neglected for months now. Because now, like, yeah, he was busy when he was with the thing that, or with the company, but now he's not with the company, but now he's busy trying to do his own thing, and he's not even telling Pam about it. And she's like, I don't even know, like, what you're doing. Like, you're not telling me anything. Like,
yeah,
it's annoying, and I want to slap him. Um, JR gets after a job at some kind of bar slash nightclub, singing the same song over and over again. Take
yes,
me away. I do like that song, but I don't need to hear it every episode.
yeah.
Because
Maybe that's the only one they were licensed to use.
at least with Lisa Hartman, she did a different song in like different episodes of Knots Landing, or at least
Um,
some
she
different.
still does a she still does a version of "We Belong" that I think is really fantastic.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans feel that way. Bobby meets with Leslie Stewart, who is Susan Flannery.
Yeah,
He says he isn't ready for her PR stuff yet. JR comes in and talks to her, and she talks a good game. Like she's like, she looks at JR like a challenge. I think like, hey, I'm gonna make you look good now and make everybody want to come your way and work with you and this and that and whatever.
I think she kind of just looks at him as like as like a challenge in terms of a
Yeah.
professional career, but she treats him a bit like a mark.
Well, yeah, he's a mark for sure, and also a challenge because nobody wants to work with him, and she knows his type. And she already, like in
Yeah,
these episodes, she even finds out kind of worse, that he's a
yeah,
tough
yeah.
ball of steel. Clint and Sue Ellen talk. Um, he says he's been trying to get over her. I'm like, dude, you haven't gotten over her since college, and he's married. And this poor woman, I forget her name, Susan maybe, but he has a wife, and I guess pays her no mind. Um,
He he married her after he found out about Sue Ellen having a baby to JR. So he waited what 9 years.
yeah, that's insane,
Sue Ellen and JR were married for 7, and it was like what season 2, and she had John Ross. So 9 years, and then you add another say year or so because we're in season 4. He's been mooning over her for like nearly 10 and a half years.
right? And they should have
It's a
they should
long
have made him
time.
like a they should have made him like a stalker. Like in the like after she gets back with Dusty.
I think it's more like
Um,
a like he's sort of like the first guy really, like at least in the like even though she's not in love with him sort of thing, he is like the first sort of bloke that she's come across that isn't like a basket case of mess ups and jerk arounds and drama. He is, yeah, he's comfortable, and he reminds her of like a more easier time.
and Pam and Alex see them, and
Mm.
they see them. So now it's like, ooh, I didn't think they were going to talk about it, and I forgot if they did, but they do.
Yeah. Well, Sue Ellen comes
Um,
at her with that what she's been saying about the Ewing men for a couple of seasons at this point,
hmm yeah,
about like yeah, just about the power hungriness, the and that, yeah, the women of their like wives are second in life sort of thing.
yeah, and Sue Ellen tells her that her secret's safe with her. Um, and yeah, like basically like that type of talk. Punk and Jock talk to Kappa. because that's going against Miss Ellie. Um, JR meets with
I've
Elroy.
yet to get sick of Takapa at the moment, but I imagine I will by the end of this because I do remember what you mean. Like it's mentioned so much. I don't think it resolves until like the second to last episode or some nonsense.
It's
Like
actually
it's
still
something
talked
like
about.
that.
It's still talked about in season 5. I remember that. Because remember I remember messaging you when I was watching watching it a couple years ago, like watching it
Oh
all the way through.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, Takapa is everywhere. And it's funny because like come season 6, like you never hear about it again.
Yeah.
But all right, JR meets with Elroy. He says they won't do business with him. Nobody wants to do business with him. Sue Ellen tells Dr. Elby her situation. He's like, that's Pam's business. And she says she has like Ewing disease,
Mm.
which I guess is like marrying them and then being ignored by them. eventually.
Yeah.
It's quite sad, but it's funny. Um, Cliff and Donna are still together in this, which I remember we said we didn't remember them being together this long, but it's
Well, like it's weird to even like the way they are doesn't even feel like they're together. Like even in these
right.
scenes.
I
Yeah.
know.
They seem more like colleagues still, than anything else.
So they say something about, I guess Dave is going to Senate.
Yeah,
Um,
so a dude stepping down from his role, and Dave's being asked to be the interim seat filler, essentially. So I guess that's until another election or something.
and then that frees up his seat for
Yeah,
someone else.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I don't even know. I don't know the I don't know the what is it called? Like the hierarchy, the which I don't know what's what. Like if he's going to the Senate,
I'm not
what was he?
100% either because obviously it's wasn't he a governor?
Maybe? Yeah, I think so. Or
Wasn't
he was
Dave?
going to be.
Yeah, I thought Dave was the governor, and now the senator is like stepping down, and Dave's been asking to fill the seat for the rest of his term.
Oh, okay.
I would assume, at least
Uh,
by the sounds of it. But obviously, like I'm not in the US, so I don't completely. Our system's a little bit different.
I am in the US and I don't know. I'm not into
No,
politics
but
at all. So
well, by the sounds of it, it does sound like it's basically just yeah, filling the position until like his term would run out, and I guess then Dave would be up for potential re-election and stuff like that. These are like senators,
right.
right?
I think so. Because they
I
said like state because
would
there's like
think so.
state senate and all
Yeah,
kinds of
yeah.
other
I would
stuff.
assume that you guys are electing your senators. Like, yeah,
Yeah, we have I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. JR meets with Leslie for dinner. She wants to change his image, turn it around, and try to make him amazing. And everybody wants to do business with him. And she doesn't even care about Texas. She wants to hit New York and LA and London and France and everywhere. Like she's like, I want you worldwide. You don't even need to be known in Dallas.
yeah,
I'm like, I
yeah,
like. She would have convinced me in a minute. I would have been like, sounds good. I'm an asshole. I need somebody like you.
yeah,
Um, Pam tells Alex she wants him, but she's not ready to give up Bobby. So you already said that.
yeah, yeah.
Lucy finds out. Lucy finds out that JR got asked in a job. She's like, "Oh Lord."
She knows immediately what it is. She's like, "Oh, he did he?"
I'm
Like
sure
I
they.
actually,
I'm sure they banged.
yeah, I actually like Lucy, especially that follow-up scene with Afton and her mother later. Like,
Hmm.
she's just trying so hard in a nice way to just say, "What's your ass?" and don't do
Yeah.
anything dangerous. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, but Afton's kind of an asshole in these episodes. I mean, not completely yet, but kind of bitchy.
I think she's just kind of naive, to be honest.
Oh, for
She's like
sure.
kind
Like
of,
she doesn't
yeah,
know.
like bit of a naughty girl, but she's naive. Like I don't think they write her as like particularly vindictive, like some of the other
Right.
people that Jenna has on side.
Like the one that shot him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Leslie comes in to Ewing with a plan in motion. He signs her contract, so he believes everything she says that she's going to do. Then we see that later on that day, Leslie is in bed with a man, um, and she's like, "Well, we could just be good friends," like trying to
Mm.
get rid of him. She's like, "This is the last time we're banging because I got me a big fish." Um, JR wants the oil fields again, and I put like he mentioned some kind of revolution on the phone with Harry. Now I know I don't even understand this. So like I don't understand this revolution thing. Do you
Okay,
get it?
so yeah, so you know how like he lost the oil wells because of the nationalization.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like he's asking about the political climate in whatever East Asian country that they're referring to because they don't give it a name, which is fair. It's not really important, but so basically, was it Hank? Hank's the fellow that's over there.
Yeah. Hanks
Um,
over there.
he tells him that. Uh, so after the coup was done, there was a lot of promises made, essentially through it, and they haven't really sort of like given like fulfilled those. East Asian country that was overthrown in season 3 where he lost the wells too. It's
Hmm.
apparently still like a lot of promises were made apparently for this coup to go through, and they haven't fulfilled them. So it sort of means that like they're ripe for paying off to maybe like find a way to sort of get it back, get the wells back, and you do that. I mean, it's very wishy washy the way they're sort of doing it, but essentially, um, rebels within the current regime are being paid off through JR and like from JR and Hang to
Okay.
take back the governmental power, and then and doing so, that the then rebels who would then be the established government would give um, the American investors access to their their wells again.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
it'd be like saying a thank you for helping us, um, take over our country or whatever. Like,
Right.
yeah, a much more expedited version of things that like kind of have happened in real life, where
And
like,
that's basically okay.
beg your pardon?
No, that's basically what happens over these next two episodes between this one and next one. And this
Yeah, so
Harry
they're
guy,
funding.
he must be getting mad cash because
Is that the
why
one with the
would
sunny?
he what?
Is that the weird guy with the sunnies?
Harry, the one that's down there like taking care of business for JR?
No, I think that was
Who's
Hank.
oh Hank, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Hank's the one
you're
we're
right.
talking about. Hank
So
Harry,
Hank,
whatever.
yeah, Hank's like,
But he must be
I think
getting like mad cash.
Hank's the one that's like greasing all the right palms to find out the right thing,
Right.
like the right people. But I think that weirdo with the glasses on, he's the actual like dude running in and talking to like mixing with the higher ups and stuff.
Right.
Because he appears later and he's just like, if there's anything happens, you don't know me, sort of thing. Because technically, like, I mean, depending on like how you look at it, like JR's funding terrorism. So
Yeah.
yeah,
He's good like that. So episode 14, season 4, Start the Revolution with Me, directed by Larry Hagman.
yeah.
Leslie comes in with some headlines about JR. She's running them in New York. He wants to have lunch. She's like, "No, I'm busy. I ain't got time for you, dude. I'm trying to change your rep." He's just trying to get like in her pants so bad in these episodes. It's so funny. And she's like, "Dude, I'm working. Like, I no, like we ain't doing that."
She placates him every
Um,
time. And she gives him like
hmm
she gives him like baited answers or like load or like ambivalent answers.
yeah. Oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
baiting him for sure, but at the same time, she does have stuff to do. You're trying to change somebody's image around. Like, dude, you just
Oh no, it
hired
just
me.
makes me.
It's just funny.
He only he only hired her to sleep with her. That's the thing, though. So, like,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't believe for a second
Um,
that like JR was overly like he was concerned about his image, but that's why he's doing this overthrow the government thing. He's trying to sleep with Leslie.
right. Yeah, I guess because yeah, he's trying to work on that. As long as it goes through, it's fine. But if it didn't,
Yeah,
he would have still been fucked.
it's just that Leslie and him see each other as challenges in different ways, but they're kind of similar.
Hmm. Yeah, she's using him for like basically money, like a lot of
Well, he's
money.
she's just kind of got the upper hand here because he's the one that thinks that he's in
Mhm.
the one controlling the situation. That's all.
Yeah. Bobby works on a deal for solar energy. Pam got her hair permed.
I didn't love this perm.
What's that?
I didn't love this perm.
I thought it was cute. It was a nice change from her normal.
It's not bad, but yeah,
I don't think the perm lasted long though. Like it's already gone, I think.
yeah, I don't think
Um,
it did.
Clint and Sue Ellen are out and they reminisce a bit. Um, Punk, Jock, Ray are all talking about bids for Takapa. That's still happening. Donna and Ellie are trying to stop Takapa, which I think they say, like Ellie says it like right in front of them is this the one she says it at the breakfast table? And then like Ray's like, you really should tell her like what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So she mentions exactly what she's doing, like campaigning against, and like they don't know who the investors are or the landowners are,
Yeah.
and she sort of ends up toddling out of the room, and Jock's kind of just still there reading his paper, like just yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an issue. I actually got annoyed with him here because Bobby's like, "Don't you think you should tell him?" And he's like, "Oh, are you telling me what I should do now?" I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
overreaction.
because well, plus they said that they would never keep secrets, and he said I would never keep anything from you again, Miss Ellie, like multiple times, but whatever.
He that only meant illegitimate children, of course.
Swear I have no more kids.
Yeah,
Um, Sue Ellen talks to Dr. Alvey about Clint. Donna talks to Dave about Senate. He wants to do it. Cliff um wants to be a successor, but he wants Donna to be a successor. And
yeah.
Donna's like
Basically,
come down, which I wonder why Donna doesn't want to do it. She's perfect for it.
doesn't she end up doing it? I can't remember.
I
I
don't
swear she
remember,
goes into
but
politics at some point.
I think so, but I didn't know if it was this soon. But she should, because
No.
she is great for it. Um, Bobby blows Pam off. She's pissed. JR wants Leslie. She don't have time for that. Oh, and then I like Leslie says that, think of me as a man.
Mm.
And he's like, uh-uh. And he makes a date with Luella. Luella's husband's always out. Poor Luella. She
This
doesn't
is
see
just
how
where you
good it
say
is.
CJR basically running around with blue balls and getting frustrated because he can't bang Leslie. It's so funny and stupid.
And he could bang his wife if he wanted to, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I did like that scene with her,
I don't
say
get
JR
it.
and Sue Ellen after that, where he comes home and he's
Um,
frustrated and she just sits there and she kind of just chucks shit at him over it. It was pretty good.
yeah, it was.
And then he's just like, "You don't know a damn thing about it." And she's like, "JR, I know all about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you do after like 10 years of marriage." Like,
Seriously. Jock and Ellie talk. She says she only cares. Oh, she says that he only cares about Ray. She got that jealous bug now because of her son not being able to come back because of Ray. But if
mm,
that didn't happen, she probably would still love Ray. But right now, she's against him.
well, I don't know. I mean, like, I get it and everything, but like Ellie, at least it just feels like it kind of feels like Ellie's dealing with all this anger like 20 years after the fact because like Gary's been gone for a
Hmm.
long time and there was always a very good chance that he was never going to come home, honey. So like, why are you angry at him now and not angry like like when Lucy was a baby and it was happening? Why did you let it happen? Like,
Right.
um, I do know that they end up reconciling over this and stuff like that, but there's one thing that they never really go over, and it's something that have brought up before, is Miss Ellie's own culpability in the in the shit parts of her family. Like
Right. Right.
she yeah, like she didn't just have to sit there a lot of the time. And yes, I know it's the friggin' 70s and the early 80s and all that, and
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got all those you do have more gender barriers than you would now, but
The
they don't
man runs
play
the
it like.
household.
But they also, outside of like obviously when he stamps his foot and everything, they don't play Ellie and Jock exactly like that. You know what I mean? It's not like she
Right.
doesn't have a say in her household. It's just that like Jock and her will butt heads. They've shown that they're both stubborn like that. So I just I get annoyed too when she gets angry about things like this because I'm like, you also kind of like let him go. You like let him get bullied away.
Yeah, for sure. And she knows it, that she bought him a house. What more can she do?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, she bought him the house to stay in
Right,
California, and now she's
right.
angry that he's not coming back. Like, and this was like
Yeah.
a year prior. She bought the house for him a year prior.
Well, it's just
So,
it is just story for her basically, but like it is good though. I like this stuff. Because
no,
I like
I'm
when
not saying I'm not saying it's like a bad story or anything. I just think that
right,
I don't
right.
know, that they could have really added a whole layer there if they just included more elements of her own inaction and of her own responsibility for letting her son get bullied out of the family, essentially.
I feel like she did that though in her acting. Like the way Barbara Geddes did it. I feel like she has
Well,
already done a lot of that. I mean, I get
she
like in the
has
right, well, yeah, the writers should have taken advantage of it,
no, but
but
like you're right in terms of like when she's talking to Gary and he goes to Knots Landing for the first time, and like I get
yeah,
all that, but I suppose it's been a long enough time that for this story particularly that I don't remember the exact scene where they actually talk about it and it's not them fighting. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you
I don't
might
remember either.
I would agree with you though up to this point that you do see it in her acting. I'm just curious as to whether or not it'll be more present, you know, when her and
Yeah, I don't
Jock
think
sort
it
of
gets
figure this out.
resolved. I don't think it gets resolved until season five. As I think it stays on her for a while because we're
You
already
know, it's
toward the
been
end of the season. We only have a
yeah,
handful left.
yeah. Huh. It'll be
Um,
interesting to see, anyways, because like I said, it has been a
yeah.
long time since I watched it.
So Luella senses something is going on with JR after they banged. Um,
Yeah, he just doesn't want
I
to listen
guess.
to her talk anymore. You can see it.
Well, that was the same shit that he did with Kristen. He just wants to put it in and leave. So whatever. Um, Pam is at a party with Liz and Alex. Is she in Panama at this time? Did they say?
Uh,
I don't remember her going there,
no,
but
I
they were
think this
there.
is no. I'm pretty sure this was on her trip. Yeah.
So they it wasn't,
No, no,
but they didn't show her
no,
like go away, right?
no. I think this is where she gets talked into going on the trip because Liz was going to send Jackie.
Oh, right. I love that Jackie's around too, because we all know what happens to Jackie eventually, which is fun.
Yeah.
I love that they kept her on. Hence why secretaries are very important. And I was a secretary at one point. So that's why. There we go. Sue Ellen questions JR about Leslie, and she's like, "You haven't had her yet. Is this the conversation you were talking about?"
Yeah. Where she basically just picks him because she knows his behavior, she knows what he's doing, she knows the play, she knows this and that. Like she
Right.
knows what he's doing. And she's just sitting there, getting herself ready for bed with the earrings, taking them out. And that's why I laugh because he gets real irate at her and he's just like, you don't know anything about it. And she's like, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's
Sorry.
like,
I do.
because you've
Like,
done it multiple times, every season.
if you're on clock, you're on like a routine here. You might as well punch it in a time clock. So it's like,
Um, so Leslie and JR talk, and she's like, "Don't go overthrowing any governments or any foreign governments." And I think she was making it a joke because I don't think she believed it was happening.
yeah, he said some
Um,
like baited remarks. He said a few like baited remarks, and she's just like, "What?" And then makes the joke, and he's just like, "Oh, whoever said anything about that?" She's like, "Didn't you just say? Yeah, you just said that."
yeah, and he says he'll do anything to get his power back, and she recorded him. I'm
Mm.
like, I love this woman. This is like her second episode, and she's great.
Yeah, she's already like
Um,
recording people.
she's so smart. Because he doesn't like see a thing coming, man. That's great. Alex and Pam dance wherever they're at, some party. Sue Ellen thinks she and Clint are being followed. And then I put poor Alicia. Like that's his wife's name. Even Sue Ellen cares about Alicia more than he does. Um, Alex goes to Pam's store shoot, and he says something along the lines like I think she's like, "Oh, you get to see all the beautiful women," and he's like, "I already found the most beautiful woman." I was like, JR wants to go public. Leslie says she wouldn't. Um, Alex and Pam make out after their night out. So this is they're still not in Panama for this, right?
No, I don't
After
think
they're
so.
making out. Okay. Because Bobby calls. I thought they were at a hotel or something. Because Bobby calls and he says he missed her and he loves her, and Alex leaves. They're in like some hotel.
Yeah, because they had that party to go to that Bobby was supposed to make it to.
Oh, okay. So I don't know why I thought they were in Panama already.
No, not yet. That happens though.
Yeah. Harry calls about the. I see. I said Harry, so it's Hank. Hank calls about
Yeah,
the.
I'm pretty sure it's Hank. Yeah.
So if anyone knows, Harry and Hank are the same person, but he's actually named Hank, and I keep messing up his name. I did this in Swan's Crossing too. I kept messing up the one character's name for like a few of these. Um, and I have Claude will call. Who's Claude? Do we know?
You're just throwing a name at me with no context. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know I don't know what I'm talking about either. Yeah, I guess Hank said Hank said something like Claude will call. So maybe Claude is like the guy down there that's helping overthrow the
Yeah,
government. I don't know.
I think they're just names to contextualize what Hank's doing. We don't know any of them. No, like they never
Oh, okay.
actually show us anybody down there other than Hank.
They just mention names, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It'd just be stuff like that, from what I can gather. Because I was thinking to myself, I didn't even register the name you were even talking about. Like, so like,
I know. I always try to get names because I'm like I try to make sure I know everybody and what they're
yeah, yeah,
doing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Claude
No,
is
that
an
was definitely
off-screen
one of the ones.
character, as far as
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
you're right. That was
But
just one
maybe
of the
he'll
ones
turn
I
up.
just didn't even. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe he'll
maybe. But like, I just
turn up
didn't even
eventually.
occur to me. That's one of the names that I completely just. It wouldn't didn't
It's
even
all right.
stick.
Dave says that Donna should be his successor. She says no. Mitch and Lucy have a picnic for his birthday. And that was a really cute scene because like he was trying so hard not to be a dick. Like it's like she's like, I got you presents and I did this, and he's like, you can see it in his face, like he's too overwhelmed because she's still rich and getting him all this stuff, but at the same time she's being so cute, and he's like, whatever, fine, I'll be here. I'm in it to win it. He opens his gifts. It's like boots and a telescope thingy, like one of those lab telescope
Mm.
things. And he's like, this costs like, what did he say, like a year's salary? Or I forget what it was. It was like a lot of money.
It's like one of those big microscope things, isn't it?
Yeah. That like when
Yeah,
you're like, I remember them in high school, we had them to like dissect frogs and shit.
yeah, yeah. It's like proper sciencey equipment. I sort of,
Yeah.
like I always feel like you should kind of let her when it comes to like birthdays and stuff. Like I honestly, I just don't. I know it's probably because I wasn't alive back then, but I just don't get it. Like how money would be his money if they see each other. It's not like
I
he's not going to
know.
make his
It's
money.
it's definitely a past thing. It's pride. It's Ray. You know how Ray has all the pride in the world, and that's basically
I
what
can,
causes them to break up all the
yeah,
time.
no, I absolutely can understand like a pride element in terms of like provider or like something like that. I think
Right.
society does kind of do that a little bit with men as hardwire that type of provider element, but you don't
Right.
actually have to be the. I don't think who has the most money should really matter. It's whether or not. I mean, if it's anything, because shouldn't it be whether or not you can provide? And if you can do that, that's great.
Right.
If you can do it better with your missus's money, then you know what I mean. Like I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I only don't get it too because like Mitch knows he's a hard worker. He's working two jobs, and I guess like to that degree, but like the way I would think is like I'll eventually be able to provide for my wife. So if she's
Yeah.
providing right now, like I'll just accept it, like deal with it, you know? And
I suppose you do
whatever.
had that stigma back then that he wouldn't, like a
Mm,
stigma, like
he's not a
to a degree
man.
that he's not. Yeah, and like in that he's, and so if he's not, but it seems like the amount that they make, like if they're making more, like being the actual, like the provider seems to be synonymous almost with the way they talk about making more than their partner or earning the money, rather
Right.
than just contributing. It seems to be like a whole thing. So like I guess that's might be where it's different. So like I said, I can understand the provider element, but I just don't
Yeah.
understand it in terms of like having to either be the sole provider or like she can't have money. Like why shouldn't she be able to
Right.
have money?
Yeah, it makes no
And if
sense.
she's a friggin' she's more or less like a friggin' socialite heiress. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. And Mr. Brown, whoever that is, and JR talk over about overthrowing the foreign government, and
I
I guess
think
it
that's the
gets
weirdo with the Sunnies.
okay. That's the one,
I think
Mr.
is that what?
Brown.
Yeah, he's the weirdo with the weird Sunnies. Yeah,
Yeah, because he starts out in the next episode too. So episode 15 is the quest, and
yeah,
Mr. Brown warns JR about the revolution,
yeah,
um, and says something like if it fails, he's invisible. He owns no parts of it. So I guess he is
yeah.
like an active part in
He's
it, but yeah, if it fails, I'll probably get
he
arrested,
probably
basically,
yeah.
or killed
He's
even.
the guy that like plays him. He just looks so seedy. Like he looks like
I
the
know.
type of dude that
I know.
he looks like the dude that would open up his coat and have like assorted
Watch it.
drugs or sex toys or something. Like like
I'm like
some
watches.
weirdo. Yeah, I'm like drugs and sex toys. Like we come from
Watches and
very different
jewelry.
places. uh, but no, he does look
Um,
very seedy. He does it well.
he does. He does. Leslie comes. JR tries to get her alone later. She's busy. JR
Mm.
pushes dude to make sure Donna doesn't get a seat on the state senate. I don't know who that dude was. That's why I said dude. Maybe
I
that's
don't
Claude
remember the name
something.
either. I don't remember
Yeah,
the name either.
I don't think they said his name. 'Cause I do try to get names just so I can say a name, to mention.
I'm
And they
usually
talk
pretty good with
about,
names in general, but yeah, not
see,
lately apparently.
this is why I thought Pam was somewhere else because they said that Pam's coming home tomorrow. Jack is mad that no one will be at dinner. He throws a little hissy fit. He's like, Pam's
Mm.
here, Bobby's going there, JR's busy, Miss Ellie's even busy, nobody's there. Pam and Alex talk at dinner. She says she isn't bitter that Bobby neglects her. I think she's very bitter. I don't think she knows how she feels. But in every scene, she acts very bitter. Like, 'cause she's always yelling at him and then hanging up on him. I'm like, that's kind of bitter, I would think.
Well, seems
I guess
angry.
she's I guess she's trying to just like fight herself. Like, I don't know, because you're loving your husband, but he's being a dick. Like, I just feel like she's fighting. JR goes to Leslie's. She says that she has an appointment with another client. Is this where I think this was where she was in her robe, right? And then she like took off the robe and had another dress on under it. Like that she was
Oh
she puts her
yeah, I
makeup
think it is.
she puts her
Yeah,
makeup
yeah.
on because it looked like she was going to bed. And he's like, "You don't have another appointment." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm going out. Sorry, fella. You ain't getting laid." Dude, how funny was the guy following Sue Ellen? Like he was the worst. He's just like
And so,
he's like he's like staring at her and he's like she's
and then when he's actually
I'm like
following her, he's like 2 feet away from her.
right? I'm
He
like
might as
he is
well have
the
been breathing
worst.
on her shoulder.
Seriously. He's literally like right across the room. I'm like, this dude sucks. Um, so she's at dinner with Clint and she mentions that the man's following her. Lucy decides to have a dinner party for Mitch. But he has to be at the lab, so it's just them three alone, which is what you mentioned earlier, where Lucy,
Afton
Arliss, his
and
mother,
yeah,
and Afton are there. Um, Pam gets back to her room. Um, this is where Alex left her a note on the door. He says like the door, like if you open the door, like we can be together type thing, and it's up to
yeah,
you. And
like you just have
she
to
locks
unlock
it.
the adjoining room door or something like that. Yeah.
No, just open it because I think she locked the door. She was like, "Boop."
Uh,
So that's where like it would have been hard to. It's such a temptation, that man. Is he telling her all the right things? He's rich and powerful, giving her all the attention, and I'm like, I don't know how she fought him off. Sue Ellen questions JR about being followed. He says no because he just doesn't care about what she does anymore, or whatever. Lucy has a maid coming in. Obviously, she's not telling Mitch because
no.
he would be mad. Dumb. I'd be like, we can have a maid once a month. Like that's pretty reasonable. Like she can just do the basics. But I guess
I
you
think
don't
it's
want to
probably
do
just
anything.
because back in those days, having a maid would have seen as like a huge luxury. I'd imagine,
Yeah,
like being able to afford to pay for a maid and not have to clean up after yourself. I suppose, like something like I don't know, maybe yeah. I mean, I suppose even now, I mean, if I knew somebody just around here that was kind of like that, it'd be surprised if it was like a proper personal maid, not just like a cleaner or something that might go through your house once a month or something like that.
right. Yeah, we have
But like,
cleaning services. I'm sure they have maids too. I'm assuming
oh,
some
we
people
have like
do.
cleaning services too, but I think it's just that idea of like a personal maid,
Yeah,
even though that doesn't seem to be what this woman is, but still.
right. She seems like she's like a cleaning service. Sue Ellen goes to Dr. Elby and tells him about being followed. Alex is leaving, says pursuing her has been one-sided because she's not having any of his stuff, unfortunately for him. Sue Ellen goes to Kyle, the guy that helped her. Who was he? The guy that helped her at the trial?
Yeah, it's just I think he's one of the what was it? Yeah, he was the lawyer. He was the lawyer
Yeah, he
that
was the
basically put
lawyer that believed her
yeah, and like was in those episodes like basically defending her and stuff.
when she didn't even believe herself. So,
Yeah, I think she got him after because she went to use Herb Smithfield, I think, and he was like, "Well,
yeah,
I can't," sort of thing, because of conflict of interest, yada yada yada.
yeah. So he basically helps her find out who's following her. Donna
Yeah.
meets with Bobby, and they want him to replace Dave on the seat Senate.
Mm.
So I like that storyline actually. I remembered when Bobby got that because I feel like he was better with Pam when he was on the Senate.
Yeah.
He says yes eventually after kind of needling him because he didn't even think about it before. He's like, "Ugh." um,
Yeah.
JR, JR yells. Why do I have JR yell? What? JR yells, Bobby. Pam has been hanging with Alex Ward. Oh, tells. Can't read my own writing. JR tells Bobby that Pam has been hanging with Alex Ward. Just to like get under his skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, Cliff is mad at Donna for the board picking Bobby and not him. And she's like, they basically fight it out. And I guess they break up in the scene, but not, directly. But she's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry because you're predictable. She knew exactly what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
her fur in this was intense. She, she looked like a
Yeah.
polar bear.
Dallas doesn't. I always feel like Dallas isn't quite as glam as some of the others, but her fur was quite nice.
Yeah, it pops. You like it looked like it was eating her. It was like so big. I never understood the fur look. It doesn't look good to me. It doesn't look like glamorous to me. It just looks like and animals on you, which it is, but um, Bobby tell me, lost me sports. Bobby tells Pam she's mad. Oh yeah, she's mad that he didn't talk to her first about it because he
Mm.
mentions the Senate and all that, and she's like, you didn't even think to talk about me, dude. Like, what the fuck? Pam said she felt lonely. She loves him and only him, and they kiss. Which I don't know how it led that way because I felt like it was gonna lead a whole different way, like another fight. Um, Afton sings the same song. JR is there and he takes her away. So I guess they go off and they sleep together, but they don't show it.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess because they usually do show it, but I don't think they did this time. Um, Ellie mentions Takapa shot. Donna's gonna stop them. Oh, oh, the DOA is gonna stop them. My God. Um, Bobby questions Jacques, which you had mentioned already. Um, Tell her you're a developer. He's like, no, I won't. Don't tell me what to do.
And it make things worse.
The cops catch the dude following Sue Ellen because he's literally up her ass. So stupid. Um, Leslie tells JR to stop seeing Afton for his image. Well, she puts it, I forget how she put it. Like, don't see trashy bar singers,
Saloon
lounge
singers.
singers. Yeah,
Yeah.
saloon singer. Um, Mr. Appleton, I forget who that is, says he doesn't know who is paying him. Oh, that's the guy that's following Sue Ellen.
It's the PI, yeah.
And he gives them a PO box number. Sue Ellen goes to the PO box herself. She's like, I'm going myself, see who this is. Some dude picks up the thing. She gets in, she follows him. He's in a limo, I think. Is that when he's in the limo, or she sees the limo at the end? He gives it, it's like a big pass off. It's like,
She sees him in the limo at the end.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
And
as
then
it's
the
driving out
limo,
of the yard.
and the limo like goes off, and she's like, it can't be. And then that's it.
The big
I'm
dramatic. Oh
like,
my god.
I was so confused by that because it didn't start, because she doesn't say Dusty, right? In the next one either.
No. They leave it open until she walks into the room and sees him in his wheelchair.
Dude, when I first saw this episode, I was so excited because I'm such a Sue Ellen Dusty fan. Like, I was like, oh my God, he's alive. Oh my God. Like, I flipped out. Like, you have no idea. So I get super
I
excited when I see these episodes.
I hadn't learned most of the conventions of the soap opera just yet, so I was like, who the hell is this guy?
You still didn't know? Oh, I
Yeah,
guess
I
you
was
were in high
like,
school when you watched.
yeah, I hadn't like learnt sort of like how it rolls just yet. I think we were like 2000 and I think I was like a year or two into just watching Days of Our Lives, so I was still learning it all. And I'm like, who the hell is this dude? What is she talking about? I'm like, when they say someone's dead, they're dead, right? Like,
Well, yeah, I guess I've seen enough soaps at that point. Because when I watched it, it was like the early thousands. So
yeah.
I was hoping it was Dusty. Because I was the same as Sue Ellen. I was like, oh my God, it can't be. Is it Dusty? But then I'm like, maybe he's
Mm,
probably not coming back. But
there
in
he
the next
was.
episode, episode 16 is called Lover Come Back. So
Mm,
I guess he's coming back. Jared Martin returns in the role of Dusty Farlow, which I'm super excited. I love him so much. Yeah, Sue Ellen says it again. Oh dear God, it can't be. She talks to the maid that's at the what is it, the mansion or whatever.
yeah.
Asks if it was Dusty in the limo. That's what I mean. Like, how should she know? Like, how would she even think it would be Dusty?
She said she saw him in the limo.
Did she? Oh, she saw him.
Yeah, like he drove past her and she seems to have recognized him in the back seat.
Because I didn't see how you
It's
could
just
see
that,
through because it looked like the dark tinted windows.
yeah, but the audience isn't supposed to see it. She is. That's why she comes up
So
and goes,
then,
"Oh my god, it can't be," because it leads the she knows who it is, everybody knows who it is, but the audience. It's just like a mini
right, right.
cliffhanger.
Um, JR and Hank. I wrote his name right this time. They talk. Everything fell into place, so I guess the overthrow is complete.
A bloodless coup.
So far. I don't know how it's just crazy. Pam goes to Cliff's because she know he's hurt because she knew what he wanted basically. He feels
Yeah,
sorry for himself. She leaves. She gets pissed off at him.
he always feels sorry for
Yeah,
himself.
yeah. He. I try to root for Cliff, but it is difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
I love
well, it
Cliff,
is.
and I'm like, it is hard. Um, Jordan, Marilee, and the cartel come by while he is with while JR is with Leslie. Hank calls again. The wells are denationalized, offshore wells. JR redeemed himself basically, like you said. Um,
Yeah,
Leslie is impressed and she's shocked that he would take a risk like that. She's like, well, what if that didn't work out?
yeah,
Um, Bobby asked Pam to make coffee for him and the campaign peeps, which was no. That wasn't cool. Didn't you feel that? Like, like when he said, like, "Can you make coffee for us?" Didn't you feel like I don't know. It just felt wrong.
yeah.
I
Uh,
honestly wish she would have been like, "I'll see you at home," and just left. Like, fuck.
yeah. It's just sort of like, yeah, just very dismissive and
Well, she
yeah.
was there. Well, the thing is, she was there and excited about it too. Like, like she's trying to be supportive, and then he did that after being. Oh my God.
Mm,
That's why I don't blame Pam for anything she does after this with this tool. Sue Ellen goes to the house again. Dusty is there in a wheelchair after she goes in and all that stuff, and it's all the dramatic thing.
yeah.
Um, this is another pride thing, or like not even pride, I guess, because the dick don't work. But I get it. But basically, he said like a ranch hand was supposed to go with them, and he's the one that ended up dying, and he's paralyzed from the waist down. She says she will do anything for him. Uh, Mitch finds the maid. Oops. Because I guess I forget, like he forgot something, so he came back to the house when the maid was there.
Yeah, yeah. She seems really nice too, and she's just like, I'm not even expensive, and he's like, get out. Well, he doesn't say that, but you know what I mean. Like,
He
I
kind of
felt bad
does.
for
Although I guess
him.
he does. He did let her stay and clean, which I thought he would not. She's like, I'll
Yeah, he
just
lets it
finish up.
finish at least.
Um, Punk wants the guys to get Ellie and Donna to ease up on Takapa.
Well, good luck with that.
Lucy, I know. Lucy promises she won't have a meet again. Whatever. JR cancels. Uh, Mary Lee. He had I guess he had plans with Mary Lee Stone. Canceled it
Yeah,
for Leslie.
yeah. Because he's back in with the cartel now, so Mary Lee's and him are all besties again. Or not again, but now.
Yeah. Well, I think she wants his bird. The way they look,
Mm.
the way they made it look.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
JR goes over to Leslie's with champagne. She says he did it himself. He overthrew a foreign government. He says he needs her. He can't trust anyone. And she recorded him again. Conversation. She's so smart. I love her so much. Ray and Donna hang out. He brings up Takapa to ease off. She gets mad. She's like, no, she will fight them tooth and nail, and then they kiss.
All the
So,
unrequited passion between two on the opposing sides. All that sort of
Lucy,
junk.
this is the fun stuff with Lucy. Lucy asks Pam for a job. She's like, oh, I can get you into the store. She's like, no, I want to be like a model for Alex. She's
Mm,
like, well, I don't know. I don't want to talk to him again because, she has feelings for him and she doesn't. want to see him, like to block it out because she is married.
Yeah.
Ray asked Donna to marry him already. I'm like, damn, I didn't remember this happening so quick. It was like she just broke up with Cliff, and then so I guess yeah, Cliff and her were basically just
Is she
friends.
really with Flip though? I mean, come on.
Well, they did bang a few times, right?
Yeah, but so what?
Friends with benefits. Um, Clayton, oh, played by Howard Keel, is now there as
Yes.
well. Dusty's daddy. Clayton greets Sue Ellen. He fills her in on everything that I like how dramatic they made it. He's like he can't make love because he's impotent. And it was like dramatic music. Doo, commercial break. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I
Worst
guess
things can happen.
right? And she truly
Yeah.
just loves this man. Like that always got on my nerves. I'm always like, she just wants to be with him and she doesn't care about that. And like, why don't you see how things go and then maybe your dick will work again one day? Like you don't know. It just started like it just happened. Like let her be there for you. That's why
Isn't
like
his
even when
impotence? Doesn't it turn out that his impotence issue is really just mental anyway?
I believe so.
Yeah, like it's just all in his head because he's got broken legs. It's not just like, oh, my legs are broken, my dick doesn't work. It's just like more like, that whole confidence thing. I think the more
Yeah.
important elements of like what Clayton was saying, even though they do put the extra emphasis on the impotency. He also goes over how active Dusty was and like all that. I'm like, I feel like that's obviously like, you know, that's obviously what it's more about, and we find that out. But
Yeah.
it's just interesting how dramatic one thing is versus another.
Uh-huh.
Yet one's arguably more of an influence.
Yeah. It just makes me sad
But
because
yeah,
I want them to be together so bad. Because because he just gave her everything she wanted and like now she doesn't
but she
have
comes
that,
at it
you
from like a
know?
fairy tale as well. Sue Ellen might okay, like Sue Ellen loves. I think it's not that Sue Ellen isn't capable of having a relationship in terms of like if he wasn't able to be physical. It's just that these are things that we know the character values in relationships. So eventually something would occur, and that's kind of what Dusty ends up. Well, even what Clayton kind of ends up saying to her. Not that because he knows her on that level, but that's just a normal thing for people to want.
Right. But I feel like it's so early on to even think about that. Like why don't we be together for a year or two, continue to see Dr. Elby together. That'll help.
Mm.
And then go from there, Because she just see, I'm like that too. Like I'm with Sue Ellen on this because I just want them to be together, and I'm like they'll be happy together, and then when they do, we'll talk about that eventually. But
Yeah, I just think that they're like. I think he's being unrealistic, yes, but in a negative way, and I think she's unrealistic in a positive way
kind of.
because
But
she's
again, Dr.
looking at
Elby can help them
she's
through it.
yeah, but she's got to stop looking at men as the solution to her problems. That's like the whole thing. She's looking at these relationships or like these
Right,
partners, JR thing, as like these solutions to her woes and all
right.
that. When
Which is
like the
what
bottom
Dr.
line
Elby
is,
said.
yeah, and it's like the bottom line is Sue Ellen doesn't really like herself all that much. So like
Right,
that's why, and like that's why so many like maybe JR's probably like the complicated exception because it's like yeah he uses her, but they also got together before that was like the main goal. Like they've got it, they're the
right,
proper toxic sort of stuff. But like every other man she's basically been in a relationship with outside of Dusty and Clint, but she loves
right.
Dusty and she likes Clint. It's been sort of like a give and take thing. You know what I mean? And even
Yeah,
to a degree from her point and she probably hasn't had a healthy relationship since Clint, and then she meets Dusty. She puts all the hopes and dreams on that, and then that falls apart. And like, she's even naive about where her and Clint are because she's like, "No, it's wonderful." And he's like, "Yeah, but you know, you both want different things from the relationship."
right.
And that's the thing. Sue Ellen's incredibly unrealistic. Like she lives in a fairyland like a lot of the time, and that's what she struggles with. Like that's what I like about a lot of her problems and the way she develops as a character, because I think things like this are real. I think Like people do, obviously it's melodramatic and it's soapy, but I do think people live in their own denial bubbles, you know?
She's probably one
Um,
of the best ones with character development
oh yeah,
that they have.
absolutely.
Because
That's
even
why it's such a shame that
the way she
that's
goes
why it's
off,
such a
I think is
shame.
even good.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's why it's such a shame that her storyline for season 9 is what it is.
Yeah. Ray tells Jock that he's engaged. Pam tells Alex about Lucy, and he says he'll do anything for her. So
Hmm.
Lucy's got a job. Cliff looks into Hank. That was good. I didn't remember this, that he looked into Hank because he was suspicious of like how JR got out of that situation. I was like, oh
Yeah,
man, he's
I
good.
actually
He's
didn't
right on his
remember that
ass.
either.
I'm
I didn't
I'm
actually
like,
remember that, but I do
yeah,
remember a vague scene. I'm like, Leslie gets called in for she gets subpoenaed to a court hearing or something, and I know that her recordings come back into play, but I can't remember actually how it plays out.
yeah, same. I don't remember. Um, Sue Ellen tells Dusty she doesn't care. She wants to marry him. Um, the, I guess they have a toast for Donna and Ray. I guess where I forget where they were.
I
Toast for
think
Donna
weren't
and
they just at home? Weren't they just at home and they announced they're engaged? And then that's also when Jock says that he's included Ray in like the boys'
yes,
like some
and
funds that he set up for him.
so Ray is now a millionaire.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved Sue or Miss Ellie's face in that scene. She was like,
It's like staring daggers, man.
"Ah." I know she's such a good actress. Dusty tells Sue Ellen to not come back and says goodbye, and that's the end of that. Look, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. I love them together. I'm very passionate. I'm not like Bobby and Pam, like I'm into like a lot too, as much as Dusty and Sue Ellen. But I feel like Bobby and Pam are their own problems, like a lot of times, and it pisses me off more than it. I like them together, but like with Dusty and Sue Ellen, I always felt like they always had the love. Like since day one, they were basically like when he first saw like they first saw each other in that diner or wherever they were. It was like love at first
Yeah,
sight. It felt like so that's why I feel like Sue Ellen does see it as a fairy tale. Kind of
mm.
is because he never like gave her anything but love and he cared about her from day one and that's why I'm so into them because like it is like a fairy tale romance and now this is like a huge like devastation for
Reality
like
check.
Dusty and Sue Ellen fans.
It's a
Hmm?
reality check. It's a reality check.
Right, right.
So like even like the fairy tale, the drama, he comes, he died, he the whirlwind, the drama of his death. He's not dead, but and it's all like this passion, but then you've actually got the reality of like his problems. And even if it is meant like even if his impotence, I'm pretty sure it does end up being like a mental block. That
Yeah.
he's obviously got psychological issues to work through, and it's something that
Oh, for sure.
something that
Because
I think old.
he's used to being the strong, powerful man, like and
Yeah,
now he can't even ride his bulls or whatever they are, like do all that and
yeah, yeah. He can't go on the rodeos or whatever anymore, like
right,
on the
which is
on the
that was his
circuit.
life,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
was.
It's like your life is just ripped away from you, which I'm sure, happens every day, but like
I like
um
Dusty, but him and Sue Ellen, I do really like the character. But him and Sue Ellen always struck me as kind of like that passionate relationship that just doesn't work. But not
but it
passionate
does
toxic.
work.
It doesn't though. It doesn't though, because if it did, it would.
But it does eventually.
Sort of.
And
For
then
like how
they're
long?
better. And what other couple's better than them?
I'm not saying that that it's not about them being that couples being better or anything. It's about the type of couple they are. Like it's like when you look at like the way they write relationships and stuff, you've got Sue Ellen and Bobby as like the sort of the sort of young super couple. You've got Miss Ellie and Jock as the stable couple and stuff like that. That's what I mean.
Right.
Like and then you've got things like this where you have like a fairy tale romance almost, but then you've got the reality of like being crippled,
Yeah.
mental health issues, like with his impotence and stuff. And and then even when he was it even when they reconnect later, isn't she drinking again? So like there's always they don't connect outside of bad things that happen to them, which is
No,
not
I
something
don't.
that you should really, you know.
No, they do reconnect. And that's why I like that. Like they do have more. This isn't the end of them.
No,
They
no, no.
have much more. And I want to say season 5. I think there's more of them. Um,
I just think that they were always like it's the fairy tale romance and it's not realistic and that's why it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like because
right.
you can feel all those love feelings for somebody, but it still doesn't mean it's going to work. And like that doesn't mean that they aren't good characters or couldn't be good for each other if they just work their shit out. But that's the
Yeah.
truth for
Right.
every couple. You know, like that's the truth for
Right.
Bobby and
Right.
Pam as well. Um,
True. True.
but yeah, no, like I like Dusty and Sue Ellen as well, and I like it as well. I like it's sad that they, I've always thought it's sad that like, this happens with them and it's kind of very
Right.
painful and stuff. But when I sort of look at the relationship again, especially recently, I'm just like, yeah, it's all very and whirlwindy and he comes across her when she's vulnerable and like all that sort of stuff. Not that he's like gross or anything, but just it's all these right
Right. But
situations for like,
this is the stuff though that like hooks you in though, because you're like, it was almost like when Bobby and Pam are apart for like 2 seasons. It's like you always want to see them back together.
mm,
And everybody is keeping them apart. You got JR keeping them apart.
yeah,
What's her name? Morgan Brittany. Um,
yeah,
totally blanking on her character name. She's keeping them apart just by little stupid things that they do. But like with this, like I was like, oh my God, is that the end of Dust? Like I had to watch more. Like I need
yeah,
more, like so these things. I mean, it's good writing. Like that's
yeah,
what a good
definitely.
writing is. It makes you want more. So good stuff.
I love them. I do like the layers on it as well because I find that like it's easy to ship people in like shows and stuff like that, and that's how you get those big fan bases. But sometimes I think
Right.
that those sort of generalizations ignore nuance within the characters' development. Where it and then like I don't know. I know that sounds lame, but it just I don't like it being and not I just don't like it being so generalized. I like looking at each one's interactions and relationships. I mean, I can sit there and do it with Sue Ellen and Clint as well. And the whole reason why she's even
Right.
there is because he reminds her of a simpler time. He makes her feel like she used to. Who doesn't
Yeah.
like feeling
And
beautiful and loved, you know?
right. And JR
But
is, being a tool again. So
JR is not the man for that. So, and yeah, and until recently, she thought Dusty was dead. So,
yeah.
but yeah, no, I love Swellen. She's probably her. Honestly, her and JR probably are my favorite characters because they're so interesting. As yeah,
So interesting. I was
and like
all,
they met.
I was always, I don't know, JR. I don't know if I particularly love to hate him or just hate him. Um, because it always gets on my nerves when he gets away with shit because he gets away with it so often, and it's like
I
it's just
always find
annoying.
JR as I always find JR as a very good narrative. A narrative form of things existing in contradiction, which for me is like a natural state almost. I think I've always
Right.
believed that things exist in contradiction. So having this character who is so vile, but then actually exhibits like human emotions when something really full on happens, like, even though it's entirely his fault. When Jessica starts her crap in season 7, he's like legitimately worried and scared, like and stuff like that for his family
That's
and
when
stuff like that.
that's when I like JR. I like seeing
Yeah,
him
like
be
of
a tuss.
course, but like it's these things. It's the scenes later on with Christopher where he's nice with Christopher. Even he's even nice with Christopher about Pam later on in the show.
Right.
Like considering how we see Jr. around the time Christopher, like Bobby's getting Christopher and what he's pulling there. It's
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
huge. People are never usually one thing. No one's
Right.
ever one thing. There's always layers. It's just, whether or not they're worth learning about.
Which is, I guess, why he played JR for 17 years. Was
Yeah, Larry,
it?
I can understand why Larry Hagman and Linda Gray both love the characters and like are
Yeah,
fine
yeah.
coming back, having come back to
And
them.
Patrick
Like,
Duffy. And
oh
Patrick
yeah, no,
Duffy,
just
because he has a lot of it too. Like he starts out as like the good guy, but kind of turns bad for a little bit. Like not bad, but like. Not like
Bobby's is
JR bad, but
more.
like
I think Bobby's is more typical in terms of it's a typical good guy being corrupted and he's dealing with that. It
yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not a
Hmm.
compelling story, but it does
Right.
mean that he's going to be framed in certain ways all the time. Like
Right.
JR is framed like it's different. It's just different. Like JR's
Yeah.
a more for me JR's a more layered character. Him and Sue Ellen are the most layered
Oh,
characters
for
in the show.
sure. For sure.
Like
Yeah.
and then I'd say though, I mean, I don't know if you could argue that JR really develops as a character too much. He pretty much stays the same jerk off the whole time, but he
It
does.
really does.
But by the end of it, he does seem a bit defeated, which was actually kind of upsetting to see.
Right.
And
And then of
something
course
that
and
oh no, I
and
was
of
just going to
course
say,
like
I just
with
don't think that the new show bounced off that well enough, in my opinion. But that's
no,
another
it
story.
didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't. It was good for what it was, like a nice reunion type thing, and but like
I
yeah,
just
but
wish
we'll
that
get
they
into all
could
that.
yeah, I just wish they continued it more in line. Like I said, Cliff's characterization after all the development that he goes through over the course of the show, yada yada yada. I don't mind that he was a psycho. It just should have been more contextually relevant
Right, right.
to the show's
I mean,
timeline. But yeah,
yeah, yeah, I get it.
not enough
Because
build
like
up. Not enough build
well,
up for what he does to his daughter either.
plus of all the character progression we get until the dream season. So that's another kick in the dick. Like
True, but at
because
least with
I
that,
felt
though,
like that was one of the best seasons for every character, and I'm like, the show could have easily just ended right there because like everyone's like happily ever after basically, and then it
well,
just
like
like came back. It was a dream, and it was a big shitstorm the next the next
I think
episode.
season 10. I think my biggest thing for season 10 was more that Sue Ellen's coming back and being better storyline is kind of like rushed during the opening of season 10, and it's like, well, yeah guys, because you already did it last year, so they had to
Right,
rush to get to the character, get the characters where they wanted them from the prior season, but with
right.
but incorporating that ridiculous twist. Like, I'm glad that Bobby comes back and everything, but that whole twist derailed every story that they had. And
Oh, for
um
sure.
and it
And
dragged, and certain things.
some of it was
Yeah.
funny too, like the funniest ways sometimes too. Like I don't know, but yeah, we'll get there in a
Yeah.
few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, well, we could talk Dallas all day. So I guess we should wrap this up.
Yeah, it's getting long.
But thanks for joining us at Grays and Soaps. Follow us on all the socials. And we'll bring you more Dallas in the coming weeks. Good night, y'all.
Bye.